What's going on, guys? LSU Recruiting HQ here. I'm your host, Michael. And LSU Baseball drops the regional final to Southern Miss. Final score 8-7. LSU's baseball season comes to an abrupt end. After getting snubbed of a regional host, LSU hit the road to travel to Southern Mississippi and, work their way into a good situation. Winning the winners bracket game, having Southern Miss come in there and having to beat them twice on Sunday night and Monday. And man, they were able to do that, and hats off to that ball club. That pitching staff over there is for real. They got timely hitting when they needed it. It just felt like LSU just ran out of gas late in the game. Things just started falling apart with the bullpen. Really, all weekend, the bullpen was a problem. Um, Obviously, this has been a recurring thing all year. Your starters, the guys who have starting these games are not starters. Besides Mikhail Hilliard, you have no starting pitching. So you're having to rely on that bullpen a lot. Having to play 5 games in 4 days really took its toll on LSU. I had a bad feeling once they lost Sunday night that the favor had switched back to Southern Miss's side. And that's kind of exactly what happened. The offense for LSU just couldn't carry him all the way home. We're going to take a minute right here to listen a little bit what Jay Johnson's had to say after the game. Um, yeah, just a tough day all in all for the Tigers.
Coach Barry and their program, um, elite pitching staff, and we couldn't hang with them in that regard. Very painful right now. So I got work to do. Jason Kelly has work to do. Dan Fitzgerald has work to do. But this is about these guys. So I'll respectfully just not answer that right now. Yeah, it's tough. I'd prefer you had not answered or asked me that question. They'll know how I feel about them, clearly. I hit the ground running when this thing happened, and the first pieces were Gavin, Devin, Mikhail, and I shudder to think where this team would have ended up without those guys. And I'm very honored to have gotten to coach them. We'll see what happens with Gavin, but I'd love to have him back on our team next year. And, they mean a lot to me. This is, when I said painful, this is deep pain, as bad as it is for me. And I know it means you're living a pretty good life if losing a baseball game hurts that bad, but it really does. And a lot of it is because of these guys. My feet hit the ground every single day with excitement, to get to coach this team. And, we're going to talk to them when we get back to the hotel. Honestly, I was not prepared to lose the game. I had full belief that we were going to win today. So I need to formulate my thoughts. So I, honor the way that they competed today with those thoughts. And I just wasn't ready to do that 30 seconds after that game, because till the last strike, I believed we were going to win. That's a foundational piece of building a program that I think we can point to. We didn't win this regional, but I think those 2 games are special games that we can point to as good examples of the way we want it to look moving forward. We have good players, though, too. These guys are really good players. And, there's some things to be proud of. And, I want to win the national championship. That's why I came to LSU, is to make a bunch of runs at winning a national title. And I get it. We didn't do that, but there's some things to be proud of that these guys did, and how they fought and competed. I am proud of that.
So, yeah, man, a little breakdown from the game, my thoughts on the game. Started off pretty bad. Mikhail Hilliard gives up the solo shot to start the game from Southern Miss. And then the Tigers responded with 3 runs in the bottom of the first. And I was feeling really good. Offense looked good. Mikhail Hilliard had settled down into the game. K. Doty smacks a home run in the 3rd inning to give you a 4-1 lead. And then the first questionable decision of the game, where I really had a problem with what Jay Johnson did. Mikhail Hilliard comes out for the top of the 4th, gives up a single that hits off Jordan Thompson's glove. And then he gets yanked. And at that moment in time, I did not feel that that was a necessary moment. Mikhail Hilliard was at 50 something pitches at that point in the game, had only pitched 50 pitches in the previous game on Friday. So it's not like he didn't look tired, anything like that. Uh, the only hard contact was the home run, and that one hit. I just felt like, man, if Mikhail Hilliard has been your guy all year, he hadn't walked anybody up until that point. He had a couple hits, but not other than the home run, not a lot of solid contact. I just think it was way early in that situation to yank him, and then to modify that, you have Paul Trevase come in that situation, and it's not like Paul Trevase couldn't do that job. It was just awkward for him to come in that situation in the fourth inning. Um, and another problem that ended up being a problem was who do you turn to if you're in a one-run situation or a tie ball game in the ninth inning? And that came back and bit LSU in the butt because you sent Raiselman out there for the ninth or for the eighth, and he had a shutdown inning, but then you had to ask him to go get you three more outs. And he just, like I said, these arms just fatigued way faster. This weekend they got used a lot. And I mean, I don't know what the exact stat was, but I want to say after Mikhail Hilliard came out, they used 8 pitchers, which is unheard of. Through what 7 innings to use 8 pitchers. So that just shows you right there how much of a struggle it was for LSU all day long. Um, so Trevase comes in and he gets you 3 innings. He gives you end up giving up 2 runs to make it a 4-3 ball game. You're still up one. Trevase finally settles down a little bit. You get 2 scoreless innings in the fifth and sixth, and then Trevase comes out the game, and you start the inning with Jacob Hasty, and that is where Southern Miss really took advantage. Um, uh, Hasty comes in, walks on 4 straight, or not 4 straight pitches, but walks the first batter, goes 2-0 on the next guy. Johnson comes out, yanks him mid at bat, and then you turn to Fontenot, who was your guy on Friday night, pitched in relief, was lights out on Friday night. He comes in, hits the first batter, and then at that point you have first and second, nobody out. Southern Miss tries to bunt. They bunt it right back to Fontenot for an easy out. He bobbles it, misses the ball, and then now you're in a bases loaded situation with nobody out. And then that's where things just started unraveling. You have a pass ball that inning, and a couple hits, and Southern Miss ends up getting 4 runs that inning. And then you're down 7-4, and it's almost like what just happened moment for LSU, because you just knew, like, man, we had it. You had it in the bag, man. If you could just manage your pitching just a little bit better, the offense is going to keep chipping away and chipping away. They weren't going to go scoreless the rest of the game, and in fact, they didn't. You make it a 7-4 ball game right there, and then your offense comes back, get you 2. That bottom half of that inning makes it 7-6, right? And we're all sitting at home thinking this is a flair for dramatic. The LSU team that we've seen all weekend really hadn't woken up until the 7th inning in every game. So you knew it was coming. I just wish LSU would have prevented the crooked numbers going up. Like I said, in the 4th inning where you pulled McHale, and then in the 7th inning where you just ran into some problems with guys not being able to find the zone. So your offense comes back, gets you 2 runs in the bottom. It's 7-6, and then the flair for dramatic. Everybody remembers, Gavin Dugas smacking the solo home run in the bottom of the 8th to tie it up at 7. And at that point, I was feeling good. I know y'all was feeling good, and I was like, we're gonna win this thing. Raiselman gets me 3 outs. We're winning in the bottom of the 9th, no doubt. Tied 7-7, but you've seen the velocity from Raiselman start to die down. And as soon as I saw, 91, 92 on the radar gun, I was like, the arm is fatigued. And what happens? He pounds the strike zone, right? He gets the first guy, 0-2, right? Cardinalson, 0-2 pitch is fastball right over the plate. He smacks it for a single. Same thing next batter. You get him down 1-2. Put him away. No, you leave another fastball in the zone. Smacks a single. And now it's first and third. Nobody out. And what does Southern Miss do? I mean, they do what any good team does, man. They just put the ball in play, a sac fly to the outfield, deep fly ball. Scores a run for Southern Miss. They take the lead 8-7, and at that point, it was just their arms were so much fresher than ours. Their guy came in, who's their fourth starter, projected fifth round pick, is the fourth midweek game starter. I mean, that's crazy. That just shows you how deep this Southern Miss team was, how talented of a team they were. It was just unbelievable to see the arms they were throwing out there. You had guys pitching 4 or 5 innings, coming out there and shutting LSU down in that first the second game on Sunday where they ended up winning. That kid came in for 5 innings and shut LSU down. But LSU not be able to work the magic in the bottom of the ninth, and their season ends on that note. So Southern Miss will host the regional against Ole Miss next week. Big Southern Miss fans, we don't root for Ole Miss in anything around here. So actually very happy to see the smaller schools like that getting to host super regional. Unfortunately, it comes at LSU's expense. But man, with what Jay Johnson did this year, there's nothing, absolutely nothing to hang your hat on or criticize him about. The cover was dry pitching wise, man, and he did the best he could. He went out there and got Cooper. He went out there and got Bo Collins. Got a couple transfers. Just nobody like the biggest. The biggest thing in the season was Blake Money not being able to fill that starting rotation role and be a consistent starter, because you had Ty Floyd come in at the end of the season, step up. You had Mikhail Hilliard come in and step up and be your ace all season. If Blake Money could have filled that role and just been consistently good throughout the season like he was at the beginning year before his wrist injury, you might be talking about a whole different season for LSU, a host team, maybe even a top 8 seed type team, if they can have that consistency from their starters, but they just were never able to get it. They relied on the offense way too much. Injuries played a part in it too. Dugas goes down, misses majority of the season with the hand injury. Barry gets the finger injury late in the season, so it takes him a little time to get work back into things. Doty obviously misses the SEC tournament. Didn't really affect you too much because he was outstanding this weekend at the plate. So Jay Johnson, hats off to him, man. Obviously, when it finally sets in, this is not what we all wanted coming into the weekend. I thought LSU had a good shot, especially once they won that 1-0 game and advanced to the winner's bracket, and Southern Miss had to beat them twice. I really liked their chances then, but it was just Southern Miss was so deep pitching-wise, and they showed it throughout the weekend how good their pitchers really were. They could just got outs whenever they needed. LSU had a lot of zeros thrown up, but it was a lot of high stress innings, and it finally just backed up on LSU and took its toll, and it finally all fell apart there in the last game. Signing class coming in next year. I mean, this team is returning a lot of guys. If you can somehow get K. Doty to come back next year, man, this offense is going to be even more scary next year, even with losing Jacob Berry. You have Trey Morgan coming back. You have Joe Bear, who might return, in that lineup. Dylan Cruz, guys like Thompson are going to get better hitting wise. We'll see what happens with him at shortstop. You have Pearson, who's a freshman, Stevenson, who's a freshman. You have guys that can jump right into this lineup and not miss a beat. Plus, Jay Johnson's going to work the transfer portal. He's got the #1 recruiting class by far coming in. If they can just land 10 to 12 of these guys that they have signed, I mean, this team is going to be loaded next year. So next year is really when you can start handing out judgment on what's going on with Jay Johnson and all that. Like I said, this year he was really taking over a team that wasn't his, and he just did the best with what he could. And we've seen it all year, guys like Sam Dutton coming in, throwing one pitch, getting yanked. He just didn't have very, very much tolerance for these kids because he knew he had to win ball games. And at LSU, you have to win games to keep people happy. And I think he did the best he could with that situation he was put in. Obviously, the offense was amazing this year, pretty much second in every offensive category to Tennessee this year in the SEC. You have SEC Co-Player of the Year Dylan Cruz. Jacob Berry hitting 370. If he doesn't get hurt, he's in that same conversation as SEC Player of the Year as Dylan Cruz was. So, um, like I said, man, the future's bright at LSU. You heard it from all the guys after the game, saying the same exact thing. This roster is going to turn over a lot, um, and it's going to be fun to see where this team goes. The MLB draft now, you're obviously going to lose a lot of those kids in the signing class to the draft. You're going to do it every year, um, but you might gain here and there. The draft is all the way in July now. So you won't probably see roster moves made until then, until you get a definitive number of guys that are coming, guys that are leaving, transferring. You won't have a final number until July, until the draft. So you probably won't see a lot of movement on that front until then. But like I said, I'm very excited for the Jay Johnson area. I think he's a young guy, energetic. I love the interaction he has with his players, the teaching moments that you can see from the TV screen, him constantly talking to guys. Obviously, LSU's not going to be as bad of a fielding team as they were this year. That's not going to be a consistent trend. That's the outlier here. You're going to get guys in here that can field ground balls and make routine plays, but that bit them all season. That probably took 4 or 5 wins off the board. And those make a big difference. When you're on that bubble for regional hosts, those 4 or 5 wins could be the difference. From you going to play at Southern Miss or Southern Miss coming to you. That could have made the difference in the regional. But like I said, man, super excited to see what Jay Johnson's going on. And you guys know already. If you haven't, man, follow me on Twitter, LSU Recruiting HQ, Instagram. I'm trying to get better on Facebook. I want to see all of you guys on Facebook dropping likes and follows on there. And we're going to get back into the swing of things, man. Football season is officially here. We're going to start rolling out videos more often. I can't wait for you guys to join me. Peace.